involved. Don't go into a therapist's office like this. Oh, I ain't gonna say nothing. Because their job is to try to help the family, help the individual. And like I say, if you're having any type of problem, at least get a necessity. Because like I say, mental illness is progressive. If you don't do anything, it can get worse. And there are people who have taken their lives at your age, because they didn't get the necessary help. So it's important, if you're having negative thoughts, self-harm thoughts, you fell into any type of dysfunctional type of behavior, encourage your parents to get you into counseling. Like I say, you have counseling that can be free as well as counseling that can be very expensive. But there's even 800 numbers, like the Georgia Crisis and Access Line, there's a GCAP, it's online, 688, 988, there's a crisis line, 24 hours. So there's a lot of help out there. Family therapy, individual therapy, and also support groups. And I mentioned earlier, for marijuana, there's Marijuana Anonymous. There's tons of help out there. The impact, long-term impact, for short-term pleasure. And then we look at, again, the support systems, community resources can help people recover and help you to become stronger adults. Because again, these are your teenage years or your foundational years. Local organizations utilize support groups, platforms. Now there's so much stuff on Zoom, online platforms, and then also educational workshops. And then if you wanted to get involved with certain activities or even counseling to a level, you can get certified as addiction counselor, certified as anger management specialist, certified in so many different areas in coaching, and even at your age, you can basically get involved in these types of activities. And so these are some of the things we want to look at, because there's so many resources available, and it's unfortunate a lot of times people don't utilize the resources that are made available to them. Again, we have to encourage, positive, not just role models, but real models. Alternative activities, baseball, football, soccer, running, hiking. What are you doing on the weekends? And some people into gardening, artwork, music. So these are some of the things, to look for healthier choices. Because what happens is your brain will respond to those healthier choices as opposed to basically making unhealthy choices and allowing your brain to get shut down. Education, we have to utilize the schools, and also, as I mentioned, utilizing professional counseling if needed, and then also you have counselors in every school. And so utilize them first if there's an issue, if you don't feel comfortable talking to your parents. As a counselor, the only time I can violate your confidentiality, I have to keep $1 million of insurance every year. Only time I can violate your confidentiality is if you report a threat to yourself. In other words, if you're suicidal, or if you're a threat to somebody else. If you say, you come to my office and say, I think I'm going to kill such and such and such, or I'm going to shoot up the school, or this and that, I have to report. I'm obligated, legally obligated to report that. Outside of that, people can tell me anything. Tell a licensed counselor. And again, a lot of people can do counseling, but the thing is, you want to get a licensed counselor, because then that's protection. Like I say, we have to keep $1 billion of insurance, because if we violate your confidentiality, y'all can sue us. So the thing is, even if there's no problems, it's always good, specifically if you're having problems making certain decisions, things about life, and if people bring you certain types of activities or interests that you're unsure of, a counselor can help you sort those things out. So it's important to start a relationship early, because you'll find some of the most successful people in the world are in therapy, they're in counseling. Own your decisions. That's the key word for today. Own your decisions. Like I say, the only time people say they made a mistake is when they get caught. There's a TV show called Morrow. If you can't do the crime, don't do the time. In other words, make healthier decisions. Again, don't allow yourself to get involved in substance abuse, specifically vaping, because it can start that way. And then sometimes it goes into marijuana usage, alcohol usage, and then other drug usage. Right now there's an opiate called fentanyl epidemic in the society. It's killing a lot of people. And I mentioned to the other class, again, my family history. My grandfather, father were all alcoholics. I had a brother who started using heroin at the age of 17 and used heroin for 10 years and overdosed at the age of 27. He would have been 2 years older than I am today. You know, so my children, I have 5 children. My children lost the benefit of an uncle based on substance abuse. So I'm not talking to you just from book knowledge, I'm talking to you from personal experience. And so many of you have experienced certain problems in your life and had certain family challenges. But again, I always tell people the crap in the past is fertilizer for the future. In other words, if you're going through some rough times, you can use that as fertilizer to basically feed or fuel your future. Thank you very much. Peace to you.
All right, we appreciate your time. We'd like to thank you. Appreciate it.
Do they do French or Spanish?